You're listening to Mr. Allard's Neighborhood. Small town feel with big time ideas. After all, you are entitled to Brad's opinion. Here's your host, Brad Allard.
Well, hey everybody. How are y'all doing today? Another great day, another hot day. Finally, we're getting hot days, which I've been a Texan all my life and I still can't get used to it. Well, anyway, it doesn't matter. How you doing, Josh?
Oh, I'm doing great.
Do you like this hot weather?
Not really.
Neither do I. But
No.
it is what it is. It's living in Texas. Well, today I have the Swaringens here. We're going to talk about Bold City Church, about a new church plant they're preparing. And most of y'all know Magan from the Next Step shows, and so she's an old hand at this. But she brought Chad along, the love of her life, her boyfriend, her
Yes.
hunka burning love, whatever. And we're going to ask a bunch of embarrassing questions later. But anyway, we're going to talk about their new church plant. And I when I was younger, I was in a church plant. When I moved to Plano, we went to a church plant, but it was planted by First Baptist of that town. Mm-hmm. Y'all are not associated with another church, are you?
Well, we are, just not another local church.
Okay.
We are not being sent or planted by another church,
Yeah.
but we are partnered with several churches and church planting agencies.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm getting at. But we'll talk all about that. But we need to get the sponsors in because you know how they can get. And
They're all great people.
We're thankful for them.
yeah, well, I'm sure y'all been to our place because it's very, very kid friendly. And I know you have 4, and you said your oldest is in Centennial this year?
Yes, he'll be
Our
a senior
two
this
oldest.
year.
Senior, okay.
And then our next will be a freshman at Centennial.
And
too.
you have your good friend Laura over there to take care of them.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's a good thing about going to hometown schools is particularly if you've been there long enough. I knew, besides your family, I've known others, dozens, it seems like families, coming through, and it's nice to have that kind of continuity. But anyway, back to our place, since Otto is paying for this. He's tapping his watch. Hey. Anyway, we're going to be there Thursday. A lot of the men in our Sunday school class go and talk football and sports and politics and, and how our kids are driving us crazy or whatever. It's a great meal. And the waitress there is always the same one. And she just goes around the table and says, I know what you want to do, and I'll be right back.
That's great customer service.
Yes,
right
it
there.
really is. It says it also has continuity in service because you don't get that all the time in restaurants.
Right.
And also Gina's. I was there Sunday night for Otto's birthday, and he had made a late appearance, so I missed him. But it was jam packed, and Susie Morgan and her band were playing, and they sounded good. I mean, really good. And it was absolutely wall to wall people.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That sounds fun.
Yeah, Gina's is a great place to go. I don't know if y'all been there yet, but it's a good place. And
I have. It's good. I like the pizza's great.
Mm-hmm. You've been there? Okay.
Since Otto took it over, and it was for a minute there, and not as consistently. We were like, anytime we needed food for this, and they were like, can we get pizza? Can we get Gina's? Mm-hmm. It's good.
Well, it's right down the street from
It's
you.
right around the corner.
Yeah, so it's a good place to go. Also, John Williams over at Old Pro Roofing. I've been stressing this, so is he, about getting your roof inspected while the sun is shining, not while it's raining. 817-734-2756. It doesn't cost you anything for him to come by, and he'll tell you you're good to go, or you have a few loose shingles, or you need a new roof, one of the 3, I guess. But he's not going to try to upsell you. And that's a good thing because, every time we have a semi-serious storm, here come a lot of out-of-towners knocking on doors. And I get it. You're making a living, but you want to do business with home folks and know where they're at and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
817-734-2756. And our friend Jeff Kelly at the Weathington Agency, he sells all over this county, 817-781-0546. He'll tell you what's going on with the rates. As much as he knows, as much as anybody else knows, I guess, because it's always today, maybe tomorrow, and who knows. So you need to know what's going on there. You can call him there again at 817-781-0546 or Jeff at jeffkellyrealty.com, and he'll set you up if you're buying or selling. So there you go. My friend Tiffany Jane, you should get your magazine out, Local Life Magazine, Friday or Saturday at least, 30,000 homes. They're really focusing on certain addresses, if you will. I don't know how the best way to put it is, but they're trying to tailor the magazine towards certain buyers, and so they're really working through some different changes, and they're really impressive. Tiffany does a good job with it. Local Life Magazine, locallifetx.com. And do we have anybody? Oh yeah, one more thing. Friends at Station 330, friend Jesse over there if you go over there and you buy a meal, you're going to have an opportunity to donate to Hill Country relief funding, from that terrible flood. And, $5, $10, $12, whatever you feel compelled to, and he will match it. And this goes on, I believe, until a week from Saturday, to the 9th. The first week in August, I know. And so he's been doing this now for about 3 weeks, and they're raising some decent money for those folks down in Hill Country.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it is. And it's a real good restaurant, too. It's
delicious.
Yeah, right.
That makes it easy.
Yeah, it really does. It's like, that's a good thing about being able to do these kind of things on the show. It's not like I have to go, well, the food ain't really that good. No, it's great. I love our place. I love Gina's. I love Station 330. I really feel good about promoting these on the show. Yeah. So there you go.
They make it easy.
They do. They make it a lot easier. Now, we have a couple of nonprofit ads at the end. We'll probably just remind me, Josh. Sometimes I get so wrapped up in my own head that I forget.
I got you.
Now, let's talk about y'all for a minute. Now, y'all met at Christ for the Nations, right?
We did. We met at Christ for the Nations in 2004.
Many moons ago.
Yeah, many years ago. He did 2 years and then went to Criswell College, which is put on by First Baptist Dallas, to finish his degree, and I finished mine at DBU. And then we both ended up getting our masters at SAGU, which is now Nelson.
Yeah,
so
you were telling me about that
all over the place.
Prior to that, I that's another story. I did not know they had changed their name down in Waxahachie, but there you are. So the big question the vast listening audience wants to know is who made the first move? Who approached whom? Did you go see her and go, oh my, that's it, that's the one? Or was that the other way around? You saw him and he said, that's going to be the father of my children.
It was one of those, hey, how you doing?
Hey, you doing?
No, we were friends for a little bit
as
before.
Friends,
yeah,
for sure. And then I was a little awkward when it came to relationships. So I was trying to feel her out and see what she thought and where she was at, but I kind of just messed it up.
Yeah.
Got her mad at me and stuff,
Like
so I
you
had
do.
to eat a little crow. And I just was straight up like, hey, I'm really into you.
yeah.
Just like that.
Just
huh?
like
Yeah.
that.
Just like that.
Maybe a little fancier.
That's
Whatever the
funny.
slang was in 2005. That's the words I probably
Yes.
used.
Oh, okay, that's funny. I'm really into you.
Yeah.
Okay. But so y'all been together a long time, and you have, well, like I said, 4 kids and all this other stuff, and now y'all moved around in this
Oh, my
profession
gosh.
you've taken
Yeah.
around. I remember y'all were in Pennsylvania, right?
We were.
Yeah.
We went straight from CFNI to ministry. He's been a youth pastor in Mesquite. We were youth and children's pastors in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. And then we were in Missouri for a while doing ministry. And then the Lord called us back to the great state of Texas.
Yes, well, I bet your mother was very excited. For those who may remember, her mom owns the Pollo Rosso over at
Yes.
over at the Cleveland.
Yes.
They've been on the
Yes.
show, and also the Christmas Tree Farm.
And also the Christmas tree
yeah,
farm, yes.
yeah. Well, a lot of little kids. I remember that. I know they still do little tours for
They do
elementary schools. And
Yes,
such.
they do field trips and all of those things out there. And my mom taught science in Burleson for many, many years, and she has a big Miss Frizzle style, and she's carried that on to her field trips there.
Miss Frizzle.
Don't you think though? Like sometimes she had in middle school, she had like her outfits matched her lessons. Like it was always intense.
I guess but
When you're her daughter, it sticks with you a little bit more when you're in that class.
I guess, but I never put that together. I do know that she was very enthusiastic about outdoor stuff and all that. But there you go. But anyway, so you'll come back to Texas. You've been in Texas for a little while now.
9 years now.
years.
Yeah.
Are you a native Texan?
I am not.
Where are you from?
I am not. I'm originally from St. Louis, outside St. Louis.
Oh, really?
Really on the southern side. And when I was 18, I went off, joined the Marines, and served in the infantry for 4 years out there. And then in 2002, spending time with the Lord, I really felt like in that moment he called me into ministry, and that's where I began the process of going, hey, where are we going to go? And I ended up CFNI in 2003.
How about that? A Marine. I did not know that. You never mentioned that. I guess
well, he was a Marine.
Okay, thanks. Thanks.
Surprise.
My son lived in St. Louis for 3 years with Boeing. And,
Okay, yeah.
And Rob and I went visiting, gosh, it'd be about 4 years ago now, 3 years ago. Now about 4, because now they're in Oklahoma City. And I liked St. Louis. I'd never been there before.
Yeah, there's some really beautiful places. You know, it is rated a dangerous city.
Well, the
overall.
city itself, he said.
And so, because I grew up on the outside, my parents were always like, we don't go in the city. In the news every night, it was like something happened in the city. This happened in the city. So we were just avoided the city. In fact, she still wants to go to Sundance Square. And I'm like, you can't go in the city. The city's not a safe spot.
Oh,
I'm like,
And
it's not
Sundance
St.
Square
Louis.
is-
It's not this
It's not
thing.
that at all. I see that. I think it's amazing down there. But it mentally, it takes me a little bit of gymnastics to hang out down there.
Well, it was funny about it. It was my son took us to the Blues Museum there, and we also saw the Arch. And then it was about 4:30. He said, "We need to get out of here." And, you know,
Yeah, that's about right. That's about right.
And so he lived outside, of course, like everybody, practically in a suburb.
Yeah.
But I thought it was a lot of beautiful territory. We saw a lot of the sights. There's a big museum with a lot of greenery we saw, and all. It was
There's
really.
a lot of
zoo
great
there
outdoor
is
space.
free and beautiful.
Yeah.
The park in that area is massive and beautiful. There's a lot of really great things up
Yeah,
there.
but you know, and then comes Oklahoma City, where it's a little bit different. But it's
Yeah.
okay. So you come from Missouri, you go to the Marines, you go to CFNI, you go to Criswell, or something like that. I get
Yeah,
the
no,
order.
that's right. You're on right.
All
You're
right,
keep
good.
tracking.
Okay, and so you're doing all this, and then you got into the ministry. Did you involve yourself with church planting right from the beginning, or did you take a typical church job or something like that?
I think it was typical. Church planting wasn't something that even crossed my mind. I mean, to be fair, when I was young, I had a lady at our church who was like, "You're going to be a pastor one day." And I was like, "No, I don't know what you're talking about."
yeah.
I wasn't like raised in the church. My parents would drop me off,
Right.
and then come back and pick me up. My parents did not go to church, but they dropped me off, picked me up, and so we went. You know, half the year. I went half the year, maybe. In fact, when I started serving at church, and they told me that Easter and Christmas are bigger Sundays, I didn't believe them. I'm like, no, everybody stays home on Easter and Sunday,
Yeah.
because we were guaranteed to do that growing up. But while I was at Criswell, I started serving at a church in Mesquite, and I did youth ministry over there for 3 years.
Oh, God bless you. Youth ministry, I think, is the hardest of all the ministries. Really.
It's so wonderful.
Oh, good Lord. Okay.
I
He'll
love
tell you
it.
about his glory days.
I love it.
Of like capture the flag in the snow in Pennsylvania.
yeah.
That's what he thinks of as like all the fun big games and things.
Well, I think one of the beauties about youth ministry is that kids are processing what you say differently than they are as a child. And they're young enough and open enough and hungry enough to ask maybe hard questions that sometimes we as adults may be afraid to
I
ask.
remember very, very
Yeah.
much how impactful my youth group was when I was in high school. And I'm still friends with 3 or 4 of them. I mean, like close friends, not like, Facebook friends. And but that group from like I was a sophomore and graduate high school, and then we stuck together even after the college and career group, right?
Yeah.
I can't tell you how much trouble it kept me out of because I wasn't getting in trouble, but I know because I had a place to land, I had good friends that cared about me and all this.
Exactly.
I never felt tempted to, involve myself with drugs or alcohol or anything like that. And I don't consider myself some sort of, dork or whatever. Well, now I do, but it's like that we just didn't do that.
Yeah.
And that was very
I'd say
good.
that's how my youth group was. Like we had a big group. We all knew each other. We all hung out. And even back then in Burleson, all the youth groups would do stuff together. I mean, they still do storm together,
Right.
and see after the poll. But back then, there were like extra things. We all know who at least went to youth group out of those, and we all kind of had fun without doing anything crazy.
Right. And, most of the time our youth group got together, if it wasn't like church related, it was just we're getting together, shooting the basketball or just hanging out. One of us had a pool and we'd swim. And it wasn't, that's the value of the youth group is that it sheltered us from some of the junk that was going on.
Safe spots, relationships, build a relationship with people who truly care for you. Although I will say when it was time for us to step away, I was like, okay, I needed a break.
Well, sure.
you know,
go hard.
as you minister to those kids, they become seniors and then they move on and you got to start over with brand new 7th graders and all that comes with preteens and all that stuff. So.
That's the life of a school teacher. I mean, I say goodbye every year. And my first few years as a teacher, when a class I really was attached to would graduate, I kind of feel it, But after a while, it's not so much I didn't care for the kids as much, but I understood this is what's supposed to happen.
Life.
Right. I mean, they need to move on. They need to go to school or get a job in the military, whatever. They don't need to hang around here, and I'll see them again in a lot of cases. And I do. I see them all over Burleson. But I'm just saying, but the first few years, I'm like, no, don't go. But now it's like, no, you're supposed to.
Yeah.
And thank you for everything you've done and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So, and because I had classes I was close to up until the end of my career at BHS.
Yeah.
And so I know what you're saying. I know what you're saying.
Yeah.
But the reason I could be a youth minister, I always thought, is because at least as a teacher, I had an institution supporting me and with certain kind of, well, at least at one point in my career, certain types of expectations and discipline issues to be taken care of. You get in the youth group, you want them to come to the Lord and be with the Lord badly enough, but if they act like a disruptive element, you got a real problem. You don't really,
there's not the opportunity for real discipline.
Right. I mean,
and then a lot of times parents are like, well, you're the youth pastor. You're supposed to figure this out.
Yeah, right.
That's not realistic.
No, I just thought if you had a kid in the youth group that was a disruptive element, what would I do with them?
How do you handle that? Yeah, because sometimes when you draw too hard of a line, and I'll say this, when we were in Pennsylvania, we would put some holes in the walls. I think there was just this short season, like every week we put a new hole in the wall.
Because they'd play big games, and then they'd run into the
have
wall.
big, hard fun. And praise God, we had a guy who was a retired carpenter on our team, and he would fix that hole every single week and stuff. But one week I kind of like pressed back on a kid, hey, man, you did that on purpose. It's one thing when we're playing a game. It's another thing when you're just punching the wall. So I called him out on that, and he never came back.
Yeah.
And I think that's what the point you're trying to make
that's
is
exactly right.
What happens, because this isn't just, hey, this is right and wrong. We're talking about somebody's eternal destiny. We're talking about their soul. We're trying to minister to the core of who they are, not just an outward expression.
It's not like you can give them detention or something like that. And so you don't want to discourage them from coming, but there comes a point where you're going to have to tell the kid, you're going to have to make up your mind if you want to be part of this or not. And if you are, you're going to have to conform to certain ways, and some kids just not for that.
And we had a few moments like that. There was one time I remember telling a small group, I was like, you don't, what is it? It's not a right that you get to be here. Like, you can't come here and do whatever you want and treat people however you want. And I kind of called them out on it, and they disappeared for about 2 months, but then they came back and things got much better, and our relationship was able to grow, and we were able to minister to them through that process.
So after the youth ministry sentence was completed, because a lot of people start the ministry in youth ministry, like our new, he's our new pastor. I call Chris Wigley new, but he was part of our church
been around
before.
forever.
But he started out as a youth minister.
Yeah, and Magan served with him a little while at First Baptist doing ministry.
He came
over there as well.
right after I graduated. He came, but while I was at CFNI, I would come home Wednesdays and weekends and teach Sunday school and lead with him. I love Chris Wigley. I'm so glad he's back.
But so am I. He's given us a nice little jolt of energy. Let's put it that way.
Yes.
Not to disparage or the man who replaced Ronnie Marriott was fine, but sometimes a fresh face could really do a lot of good. And so, when did you get into the church planting business, so to speak?
Well, it's hard. I guess it's two different times that we really.
We had a season when we moved to St. Louis. We knew that the Lord was calling us back there. We didn't have a really strong understanding of why or what, and we felt kind of a pull to church plant there. And we went it alone. We just jumped in. We just jumped in
We're
and
young
tried
and passionate.
to.
Let's just do whatever God tells us to do.
Tried to do the thing, and we grew to about 50 people, and then it was evident in a lot of ways that whenever it was time to close that church, whether it be
for us to step back from that.
From
for sure.
just it was a hard season. I know you remember when my dad passed away.
Yes.
But a year before that, I guess 2 years before that, his dad was diagnosed with stage 4 lung cancer, and at that time we were living with them. And I remember even before he was diagnosed, we had moved back with them, living in St. Louis, trying to plant a church. And I remember praying, Lord, when will we get to move out of my in-laws? And they're great, but
I get it, though.
I feel like that's a fair prayer.
We need our own.
Absolutely.
For sure.
And I felt like he said, whenever Don, his dad, receives salvation, that's when you're moving out. And I was like, oh, Lord. Like, because it felt like a hard, it felt like something that wasn't going to just happen.
It was not. My dad did not want to hear about Jesus.
Yeah.
But y'all lived with him. Here you are, in a sense, missionaries, I guess, to St. Louis,
Yeah.
I guess, if you want to call it that. Your life is committed to the Lord, and your father's like, I don't want to hear about it. Is that what you're telling me?
Yes.
100%. My dad would, when I would bring it up at, sitting around at the table or something, my dad would get up and leave. He would just walk away.
Yes.
He would say, I don't want to hear that stuff, and then just get up and turn and go. And so it was kind of hard. I think when I first started sharing Christ, it wasn't too, I don't know, it wasn't too overwhelming, I guess. And he would sit around and listen. But that was when we first started. When I would come home and visit from CFNI or whatever on vacation break, but I was only there for a couple weeks and gone.
But when we were there long term, he was not going to hear it. And so he got diagnosed with stage 4 lung cancer. We're living there, and I'm home most of the time, so I'm helping him with lunch, and he's taking him to chemo, and he's speaking faith into him. And it's amazing how hard things soften the heart. And I'll tell you, 2 weeks before he passed away, he gave his life to the Lord. And from that, one of the things that, like, the Lord put on, like, we thought, oh, we're going to go back to St. Louis, we're going to plant church, God's going to do this and this and this. And one of the things the Lord kind of showed me through that was, if Jesus would leave the 99 for the one, why would God not call us to leave the 99 for the one? And so I do believe that a lot of that was tied into why we were in St. Louis. And even though, like, we did minister to a lot of people, and we saw people come to the Lord, both in our church. I helped another church with their mom program for moms of preschoolers, and it was like, for a while, I'm like, Lord, this program is like totally growing this church over here, and then we're kind of struggling over here.
She was growing in other ministry while we were like, okay, we're trying to get things going here. I mean, the other church even said to her in that season, like, you have the #1 largest growing ministry at our church. And she was just volunteering, coming along and helping in a program.
But so I see God's hand and impact in there, but I don't believe that was what we were called to long term. So after his dad passed away, and then like 6 months later, his grandmother passed away, and
who
then
had dementia, and it was a big hassle.
we were all helping take care of her.
Stuff.
Oh, I'm very familiar with that. My father's going through that.
Okay, she lived 1 block away. She had lost all feeling in her feet because of diabetes, and then she also had some dementia as well, and just everything. So there was a lot from my dad to my grandmother, and then 6 months after that,
my dad passed away.
Her dad just passed away.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I remember you guys were so kind to us in that season in your Sunday school class.
Well, James was still one of the finest men I knew. Just a great guy.
Wonderful. He's a great man.
Just a great guy. And, when her mother remarried and moved to church, she was like, no, you're not going anywhere, Donna.
I know. I told her she couldn't go anywhere.
But her, Dwayne, right?
Yes.
He liked a smaller church, and we get it.
Yeah.
And so, we still actually kind of still consider her like a member of sorts,
Sure.
In spirit anyway, if you will.
Yeah.
But I'm fully aware, not to get on my story, but my father's going through a lot of the same thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry to hear that.
Well, he's a Christian man, and his time is coming very, very soon.
Yeah.
And so we have peace about that, but
it's a hard season. It's a really hard season.
It doesn't make it helps, but it doesn't make it easier, really. But it doesn't. But we know where he's going.
Yeah.
I'm more worried about my mother trying to take care of him and all that kind of thing. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah.
But as far as you coming back to Texas.
So in that season, as we kind of wrapped up in Missouri, we were just like, Lord, where do you want us next?
Can I just add, I think while we were in that season in St. Louis, the Lord was showing us a lot about what it takes to walk in ministry at that kind of level, and the things that's involved in that, and going. When she talked about leaving the 99 for the one, it was one of those where it's like your comfort isn't as important, as this eternal destiny and all these things. And so, like, looking back, going, hey, that was that portion with my father was a tough season, but because of that season, like, I'll get to spend eternity with him in heaven. And so that season, 100% worth it, even though there were some challenges and some growth things that we personally had to go through and stuff.
One of our main viewers, hello from Cleveland, Aaron Ash. Y'all stay cool out there today. Thank you, Aaron.
Right.
All right. Well, You go ahead. Good.
Yeah, no. So it was in that season we stepped back, and this is where Megan was saying,
Yeah.
like, we just stepped back and began to pray.
We were very much like, Lord, where would you have us next? And
What do you have for us, God? And that's
yeah, and I'll tell you that Chad is much more patient, wait on the Lord type, and I'm much more like.
Do you
Maybe
recognize
I'll
that in her?
send your resume to 50 churches that you've never heard of, and
I just
we'll
started
see what
getting
happens.
phone calls from randomly. Oh, we got your resume, and I'm like, I don't even know who I'm talking to, what church I'm talking to.
That's that's kind of what moms do, isn't it? And
Yeah.
wives do. I mean, when I was looking for a school job many years ago, Robin did the same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
No, it was good. In fact, I think in the end we were looking between two different places. One was here in Arlington, super close to home for Megan, but the other one was in California, Oakland area. I
And
think.
Megan didn't want to go to California.
No, I was like, but California, come on, we've been in Texas, we've been in Pennsylvania, we go to the West Coast, and the Lord was very clear.
This is where we
This
needed
is
to
where
be.
we needed to be. So
Yeah, so we've been at a church in Arlington for the last 9 years. He's been doing children's ministry, and that's moved to prayer ministry, and that, a lot of different. No one does, just like nonprofit ministry. No one does just one job in church ministry
Right.
either, and so. We've been there for a while. It's been
Yeah.
a great. It's
Which
been a great
church is this?
opportunity. It's called Word of Truth. It is on 360 and 1187.
Debbie and
Debbie.
well, I've probably driven by that. My daughter lives near 1187 and 360. I've probably driven by it several times.
You probably have. It's like
where
yeah.
those new restaurants are going up, the
Yeah.
QT, it's right behind that.
Well, there's the apartment complex that's right on 360. That's where
It's
she
right
lives.
over
Yeah,
there.
you probably passed it, but yeah,
Yeah.
we've been there for a while. It's
we were
been
there for 9 years. Wonderful.
a really great opportunity. And even when it came into like church planting now, I was like, we're good. Like we're, settled into rhythm, like everything.
It was not something that we'd been praying about. It was a thing where I was like, I could tell God was calling me to different things, but I couldn't like put a pin on it.
Yeah,
I couldn't
articulate it.
I couldn't get it figured out. And so
Yeah.
I just, out of frustration and lack of contentment and lack of peace, I stepped back and I said, God, you know where I am. You know where I live. You got my number. Like anytime you need me to move, I'm here. And I'm just going to become the best children's pastor, prayer pastor, like whatever you have me doing here, I'm just going to be the best that I can be at that. And so that was like about a year of just doing those things without moving beyond that. And then through a relationship that we just connected with one day, and we just instantly hit it off. It was one of those things we walked back and we're like, okay, God, are you starting to stir things up? What are you shifting here? And through that relationship, we ended up planting a church, are in the process of planting
Yes.
a church.
Okay,
So,
now this church you're with now, are they sponsoring this new church?
yeah, they're like a covering.
They're
for
covering.
us.
So we met Pastor Paul Mintz. He's a part of an organization called Excel Leadership Network, and they're the church planting organization that we are a part of. His church is TCAL, the church at Lake Ridge in Ennis, and they're investing in Chad relationally and as a covering. But that organization also gave us a coach, and his name is Jay, and he is a part of a church in Illinois, Peoria, Illinois, called Northwoods. And they are ascending church at this point. They're helping to fund our life.
Yeah.
You can just say it. They're helping to
providing
fund
a
our
salary
life.
for Chad for this
100%.
season.
Yeah.
But they also, Jay is a part of that where he coaches us. If we need anything, we go to them. But we went through with all of those. I don't know what you know about church planting, but I've learned a lot lately. But when you become a part of one of these organizations, there's an assessment. Like we had to go to a 3-day thing where we're meeting with counselors and he's preaching and they're asking us hard questions and they're just like really getting a feel for us before we can be a part of an organization like that. They're very intentional about who they back, I guess.
Well, and but the difference is, like I may have mentioned earlier in the show, when I was moved to Plano when I was 12, my parents and I started going to a satellite church by First Baptist Plano, and we were meeting in an elementary school. And then we got built a building and became a separate church. And that's happened here in Burleson because 2 or 3 of the Baptist churches here came out of First Baptist.
Right,
Yes.
I've heard that.
I believe Crestmont, I know Cross Timbers is.
Yes.
I don't know about Cana. It may or may not be. I don't know all the history of it, but the point is that we had the backing financially and otherwise of the mother church. Y'all really don't have a mother church, so to
We
speak.
do not.
Right.
And so you really are taking a leap of faith, aren't you?
You know, it was one of the things that it wasn't even something we planned on doing so quickly. It just kind of like the Lord moved quickly, and we found ourselves, myself, like unemployed, if you will, in that sense. Is like I wasn't getting a paycheck from anybody.
You weren't working at the World.
The church
Word of
was
Truth?
paying me, but when I left Word of Truth, like that check stopped.
Right, okay.
In that season, and so there was like 2 months we were just like walking by faith.
I
You
couldn't
know what I
imagine.
mean?
And Megan's like, "Oh, no big deal." No, I bet you was worrying to death, weren't you?
Well, you know, when it first started, fear and anxiety, we fully believe is from the enemy, not from the Lord. And so we wrestled, not even with the call of church planting, we wrestled with the idea of what does God being our portion look like? What does it mean when we say the Lord is our portion, when He is our resource, that when we say Jehovah Jireh, the God who provides, what are the things that those means? And we wrestled through those things. And actually, as we have been able to trust Jesus, we just had a season of peace. I'm telling you, when we're not getting paid, I'm going, God, I thank you that all of our bills are paid. And just standing in faith and knowing that the Lord is in portion. Sleeping at night. Sleeping not. And that was my greatest thing, going, I know that God is moving and upholding me because we sleep at night. You know, we're still going, hey, let's figure this out. Let's go do this thing. Let's just, you know what I mean? We're not going, nobody spend money, nobody do anything because, you know, we don't have anything. And no, God is our portion and He's going to take care of us. And this year He has totally done that. And as she
Absolutely.
mentioned, that church in Illinois, we didn't even know the church existed a year ago.
No.
But here they are coming alongside, helping to pay salary and providing for us and doing all the things.
You know, I'd like to think I have that kind of faith.
Yeah.
And my wife, I know, has, I think, a deeper faith, but I think I'd be worried.
Yeah.
And Robin would be like, I'm not worried. No, I'm not worried.
I think that,
Yeah.
well, I'll say when we were in Missouri, I feel like I dealt with a lot of anxiety and worry about all of that because that was just where I was in that season.
Sure.
With this, it's been, I'll tell you when he first started, just so that we paint the picture accurately. When he
Not
first,
that we were running.
when he first started talking about church planting, I was like, nah. Like,
Yeah.
no, we're good. It's fine. We'll just do this. Like,
Get
we
thee
don't need to
behind me,
plant a
Satan.
church. Like, no. And then when we started praying about where, and he's like, there were doors open in other states and
We were
things like
invited
that.
a few places. Yeah.
And I was like, I'll say genuinely from the Lord, we belong in Burleson.
100%.
But even when he was saying it, I was like, Lord, you have planted me here. Like,
Well,
my kids are good.
Well, I'll
I
tell
don't
you
need
what.
to go anywhere. But
if y'all get called somewhere else, there's going to be a riot because we don't want to lose
I
Miss
know,
Megan here.
I know.
You know, y'all-
She's well planted.
Yes, if you get called to California or something like that, you're going to have a long distance relationship because she ain't going anywhere. All right, because
that's what I told him.
yeah.
And so we're in Burleson. But
Our friend Taylor drops in.
yeah, walking by faith, no easy task. Excited to
Amen.
see the Lord move
Amen.
in this journey.
And I
Thanks,
was-
Taylor.
Taylor, thank you
We
so
miss
much.
you in the booth. by the
Nah,
way.
Josh does good.
No, Josh is great, but I like
No judgment, Josh.
I like Taylor
You're
just
good, you're
because he's cool too.
Well, and I would say even to that, Taylor, like faith is something that first has to be worked out inwardly, then externally. And the way that we were teaching faith and stuff, so when it was first like, hey, this is happening real fast, we had to sit down and have a lot of conversations.
Yeah.
And I spoke to Megan saying, if you're dealing with anxiety or fear, you need to tell me. Don't pretend you're good when you're not. Because we need to hand that to the Lord, and we can't have anything underneath us that's causing division in our own heart, in our own soul. And so, dealing with the principles, and so it was like we knew these things on a very pragmatic level where we're teaching them, but when we got thrown into it, you know, it's one thing when you get out of the boat to walk on water and then you turn around to get back in the boat and the boat's gone. You know, you gotta go,
Yeah.
okay, I have to walk on water. There's no other option here. And so it's kind of that learn how to swim when you get thrown in mentality. And God has just been so good and so faithful.
Absolutely.
Well, you know, I've had experiences similar to that. When I decided to become a school teacher back in '86, I had it wasn't like, it wasn't similar to your experience where you felt like something's coming. For me, it was sudden. I was working at a job as a financial analyst, and I woke up one day and went to the office and said, this stinks. And so I went to go have lunch with Dad and say, I want to do something else. And he goes, what do you want to do? I'm going to teach school. It's like, and because I didn't wake up that morning thinking that's what was the deal. And Robin and I weren't married yet. We just first started dating. And I told her, this is a funny story I've told a lot of people, and said, I called her up. She worked in another office of the same company. I called her up and said, I just quit my job. I'm going to go back to school to be a teacher, and I'm not going to have any money for a couple of years. I'm not going to have any money afterwards either. So if you want to, kind of end this friendly, I get it. I understand. And she gave me a butt chewing, like, how dare you? She let me have it. And so, I think, okay, I think I'll keep this one.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we've had those times, and we really sought the Lord, and sometimes we felt like the Lord was, I don't know, we weren't penetrating, we weren't getting through. I'm sure you've had those same experiences, but we've also had times that we've really looked back and said that had to be the hand of God.
Yeah.
But I'm sure everybody who has a walk of faith goes through those periods where you're like, I'm not getting any reception here.
Yeah, Lord, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Obviously, there's something that I'm not seeing.
Yeah. So, but that's the part of faith. It's the hardest part, I think.
I think for us, one of the things that helps us is, my wife said something to me the other day. Thank goodness for a godly woman, and thank God for a godly woman. But she said something. Sometimes we're in the season of plenty in the Promised Land, and sometimes we're in a season where we live by manna. And that's just enough for today. And just when you process in that way, we kind of don't look and go, okay, God, what are you going to do today? Oh, we need you to provide today. We kind of set our heart going. We know, because we know God's faithful and that he's not going to abandon us, that what's it going to look like in a year from now? Instead of worrying about today's burdens, we're rejoicing because God is going to be faithful. It may not be in the moment that I think he needs to be faithful or look like I think he's going to look, but he is going to be faithful. And so we don't even set our hope on what today is. We're looking and going, okay, God, in a year from now, what's our church going to look like? Where are we going to be at? What are the things we're going to be pushing through? What are maybe challenges that we're going to have in a year that we can work on right now?
I know the last period, like y'all were describing, after I left BHS, I went to Southwest Christian. After 3 years, it wasn't working. And I was facing the next school year basically without really knowing what's going to happen next. I mean, financially, we could make it for a while, but, for a while.
Sure.
And then right towards the very end of that semester, like with 2 weeks left of my year at Southwest Christian, Dallas Baptist picked me up. And so, and then I started this podcast. And not that I'm rolling a dough by any means, but I've always been really fortunate to at least pay the bills.
Sure.
And so I understand. Here's one question, though. When you talk about church planting, I mean, when First Baptist Burleson started Cross Timbers, or my old church back in Plano, First Baptist Plano, back in the 70s, started Prairie Creek, is what it is now, Prairie Creek Baptist. There was a portion of the students, what I'm saying, portion of the membership that would transfer over there to kind of give it a nucleus of people.
Yeah.
Do you have that already?
No.
We do not.
Then where do you get them?
So there is a model. I mean, our coaches taught us some of these things, but also there's a model called the ARC model. It's they are a big church planting organization. And essentially what you do is you start out with something called Vision Nights, which we're doing. We have another one on August 6th.
7 o'clock at the Brick.
Do you have any
Yes.
kind of logo stuff, or you want to send me some stuff to throw it up there?
We do have the logo. I'll send.
You probably should give
I'll
our
send a
website.
link.
All right,
Yeah.
the 6th is a Wednesday, and I got a Monday and Tuesday show. I could show it at least.
Yeah. Okay, I'll make a flyer specifically for that you can put up here for next time. But yeah, so Vision Night, anyone can come. Most of what we're doing right now is social media marketing, and people are signing up through that. We've had 2 so far, and we've had about 50 adults come. There was
50?
one night we had
In two different
times.
ones.
All right.
They have come. One week we had like 26 adults and 21 children. So like that was just one night. It was wild. But they'll come, they hear about what God's doing at Bold City, and if they decide that they want to be a part of it, they join the launch team, and we're having launch team meetings regularly with them. And I mean, we had our second launch team meeting last night, and we had about 15 people come. And
That's
it was
actually
great.
more than I thought.
Yeah.
To be frank,
No, for sure.
I really thought, you put it out there, and maybe your mom and a couple of her friends would show up, kind of thing. And
We pay a company to help us market it, so that it's getting out to people. That they can see it, and it just goes out to anybody, and they can see it. And the whole heart of the Vision Night is, as my wife was saying, is to just share who we are, what we believe God is doing, and the purpose of planting this church, and then invite you to be a part of what God's doing. And
what are these people looking for? I mean, because are they members of other churches, or are they unchurched, or are they dissatisfied, or
here's the thing: if you're mad at your church right now, I think you should probably resolve that at your church and in your heart.
100%.
And don't come to us and tell us all the bad things about your church, because first off, I know and love all your pastors, and every church in town has a godly person at the helm, and we're grateful for all of them. But two, some of them are, maybe they haven't been going to church for a while, but they're curious about maybe coming back, and something new sounds engaging to them. A couple of them they're at a church they like, but they feel like God has something more for them, and the idea of building something is appealing to them, and so they're coming that way. There's a variety. Would you say? Is there anyone else you can think
I
of?
think that is the majority is people who maybe even since like COVID haven't gone back to church, and they're looking for a place to kind of get plugged in, and this is that opportunity for them to come. And like she said, we've had over 50 adults come to the meeting, but we only have 15 who are like, yeah, we're in. So that's 30 who came and was like, you know what, this isn't for us, or whatever. Or we like, hey, this may not be for you in the process. And so there's space for that. But I think a lot of people are just searching, asking questions.
What is your time schedule? When do you want to start having weekly Sunday sessions?
That is actually the third goal. That's not even our first priority. Our first priority, as my wife was talking about, this launching large, we want, on the day one, when we open our doors, we want to already have the heart and the culture of the church established, so that we're not having a bunch of people, Lord willing, we have a bunch of people come and get saved, but then we're not going, okay, what do? We just had all these people give their life to the Lord, and now we're scrambling because we don't have any systems in place. We don't have any place for them. We can't minister to them. And so we want to have all those things in place. We want to be able to have children's ministry and additional ministries already up and running. And so that first goal is about 60 people who are like, hey, we want to be a part. We want to serve what God's doing. We want to serve what God's doing here at Bold City and in the city of Burleson. So we build that through our teams training. And then after that, we also need a lot of resources. We got to get a place to meet.
That's the second question is, you said when the doors open, where are these doors?
Well, that is in the air.
That's a great
Those
question.
are walking by faith, right? In this season.
We've put out, of course, we'd love to meet in a school. We've talked a little bit with people at the Brick about figuring something out in the gym for worship. Because it's January, you didn't say January. Our goal is to get to 60 people, and then we'd like to launch in January.
Lord willing, we would have the first two goals taken care of.
A little bit of time.
That we could launch the
I think
third
she's
Sunday.
got a bit more of a time frame in mind.
Well, I wrote her time frame.
He did. He's just being so general, and I'm so
We
detailed.
do have that. One of the reasons that I don't want to just come out and say, hey, this is the day we're launching.
Yeah.
Because that's not the priority. And then people get discouraged if you don't make that.
No, I understand that, but I don't think it's detracting from your faith to say, I'd like to have it start on January 1st.
Yeah.
God willing. Making plans, is one thing. Forcing these things, if you're not ready by January 1st, then I wouldn't.
Yeah.
Well,
and it may not be the Lord's will, but
Absolutely.
I don't think the Lord's saying, "Well, I'll show you."
Well,
Well, I hope He does show me.
Well, no, he isn't. I know he isn't bound by our time schedules, but it's not wrong to plan. And so a tentative date, God willing, is all good. But you mentioned some other possibilities, but you are not really willing to throw them out there?
We haven't had any real signatures or anything. And I'll say, we're praying about what that looks like, and we're trying to talk to the right people to get the right doors open.
Would it be possible to start within a church in an unused space or something like that?
Ideally, we wouldn't do that.
Okay.
Ideally.
Okay.
Because we want to have services on Sunday morning.
Well, okay.
And I think I think that when you look at the research and the like success rates, like Sunday mornings are it. Trying to offset another church in their church building usually just isn't as successful. And so we want to make sure that we can meet people where they are and provide the time that's going to work in their time frame. And honestly, I think that there are options outside of churches. I'll say in our launch team, even we're not. That group isn't opposed to meeting inside another church building before we launch our services, but our services will need to be in a more...
We do have team meetings at another church right now.
The First Baptist also launched a Spanish-speaking church, and they operated simultaneously as ours. And they're part of us, but they're also their own church, and now they have their own meeting space and that kind of thing. So I don't know. And there's,
if that door opened, we would not necessarily be opposed to that.
I don't know.
It would be number one. It'd be really great if someone's like, "Hey, I got a great space for you." Number two, we'd rent a school or something on a Sunday. Number three, possibly the.
How about where you meet with your group, that Rotary group or whatever?
In the Station 330 party room? Ideally, that'll be too small.
Oh, okay.
Like that, hopefully.
Or
that's
the
too
Texas
small.
bar, they get
Up on the Sky Bar, church at Old Texas Bridge.
Why not?
I mean...
Why not? It's the church is the people. And
absolutely.
But
absolutely.
Who knows? That's going to be one of those things, I bet it's going to happen at some place you really aren't thinking about right now. I mean, you could think, okay, I'm trying to be logical and whatever else, this place, that place, and all of a sudden someone's going to drop in your lap and you think, we never even considered that. What a great idea.
That's one of those things we just take that in prayer, and we kind of hold some things loosely, like, hey, this is a good idea, unless we're not seeing something that the Lord has already planned out for us. So whether it comes and goes, there's a lot of freedom. Yeah. But, back to your original question, too. Ideally, we would look at the third Sunday of January.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
I'm besides just having help with the marketing and all that, it's not like, hey, you look like a heathen and needs to go to church. Come to this place. No, it's not quite that easy, right?
It's not.
Or that aggressive.
No,
it's not that aggressive. And it's going to be, it's going to be tough. I mean, when you start a church, it's not, you don't think of it as a business, but you got to think about it, you got to get, all the legal stuff put together.
There's a lot.
You got, how are people going to donate and get how salary is going to be paid eventually, on and on. It is a business side 100%. Of it. And so you got to think about all those things. But I think it'll work, and particularly because Burleson is growing, and we think, well, we got churches thick on the ground here in Burleson, but we have a surprising number of people that are kind of just wandering without a church, and not necessarily that they're lost or they have no salvation, but they just can't find a church they connect with. It's kind of like your stepfather, I guess you call him. I don't know. You call him Dwayne, right?
I call him Dwayne. Yes, you can call him stepfather.
Right, Dwayne. But I know, but he's But anyway, the point is he would not have been comfortable in our church. Yeah. It was too big.
It was too big.
And so for a lot of people, they want the smaller church environment.
Yeah.
Oh, some guy named Joshua Miller. You know him?
Yes.
You guys are amazing. Bold City is going to be incredible.
Thanks, Josh. He led worship at our launch meeting or our launch team meeting last night, and he did a great job.
It was phenomenal.
We're grateful for his support.
Yeah. You and Laura have been friends since birth, practically. It seems like
something like that. Yeah. 7th grade.
Well, I know starting a church, even when Prairie Creek, my old church, was launched, we had the support, but after a certain point, we were cut loose. And we had to go in. We had to go out and recruit. We had to get members on our own. Yeah. And I would think, I know that if the Lord is behind this, which obviously I think He is, and y'all believe it too, I really do believe this to be true. It will be a success.
Amen.
I really do believe that, because like I was getting on about, read about this, the generation, my children's generation, they don't connect to traditional church at all. And a lot of them say, well, I don't really need church, or, I was disappointed at XYZ church. I think there's a lot of people in the Burleson area like that, that they don't consider themselves not Christian, but they're like, the rest of it I don't need. I think that so that's going to be your target group, I would imagine.
Yeah. I think so. I think it is. Part of this process, we had to do kind of a process where we really looked at the population of the community, and I had to like go through and find out all the churches in town, their like Sunday attendance, to get kind of an average or guess or estimate of how many people went to church on a Sunday. And in our town of 55,220, I'm calling those things. And I looked at Chad at one point and I went, if this number is less than 15,000, which it really looked like it was going to be, I was like, I'm going to be low key heartbroken, because I would never have guessed how low it is in this season. And
I think you're going to find out that there's a lot of people that, particularly after COVID, they said
they just didn't go back.
They just didn't go back, or they're dissatisfied with what's going on in their life, and they attach that to
the church,
or
yes.
to their faith or whatever. Like, it's not working for me, or they had a bad experience in church and all this other stuff, and they don't want to go back. I know 2 or 3 people like that. Like, no thanks.
Yeah.
And so that's the group you're going to be reaching.
Yeah.
And in a smaller group, like Robin and I, for us, First Baptist is our Sunday school class. I mean, the services are there and all the rest, but it's always.
But those are your people, like your community that you build life with.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, there's about 20 of us that are pretty routine, and we had like 28 on the roster. And so those are the people we open up to, and you lie there Sunday morning and you think, oh, do I really want to go to church today? Well, I want to see my friends. And my father-in-law, who's a retired minister, said there's no bad reason to go to church. If you're going there to meet girls, better than a bar. If you're going there to play on a softball team, that's fine. There's no bad reason to go to church.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we got a couple of ads we need to run for the nonprofits and also the radios. But we'll do the radios at the end. Thank you, Josh. First of all, this Friday night you have the roundup for riders over at the Stockyards. It's going to be at River Ranch. It starts at 6. It's for Wings of Hope. You familiar with this outfit?
I am.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I've volunteered there before.
Okay.
Yeah,
Well, good
I
for
forgot that he's been hanging out with the leadership Burleson with the chamber, so he's seen it all now.
You've been in the Chamber of Commerce.
Yeah, I'm a part of their leadership Burleson group, trying to get to know the community
The
better.
Chamber's really good. I'm going to have Melissa Miller on.
Yeah.
Hopefully next week, but we're
Working it out.
Yeah. But anyway, it's a great group. They came on the show about a couple of weeks ago, and they do really good work for
They do
people
great
with special needs. The Center for ASD is a routine customer. Also, the next day, our friends over at Crowley House of Hope is going to have a back-to-school bash, and so they're going to be, from 10 to 2, they're going to be doing some contests and games and whatever else, and it's a good time to support the back-to-school bash that they're doing. The Crowley House of Hope is running a school supply thing, and if you want to be part of that, you need to register. It isn't so much you just show up and whatnot, because we don't know. They need to know how many supplies they're going to get and all this other stuff. But that's something for the Crowley House of Hope, and it's Elizabeth Becker does a great job at that. And I believe there's one more. Well, I know there's what I was talking about. Yeah. So if you want to do the Crowley House of Hope back to school, you need to register for that. There's going to be, I know Center for ASD has got something in about 7 weeks that we'll be pushing the pickleball, and on Thursday night and the golf tournament on Friday, the 25th and 26th. Y'all have your gala in October, right?
We do. Our gala for Next Step Women's Center is October 9th, and if you need any more information on that, you can email me or leave it in the comments. I'll get back to you. But Magan at nextstepwc.com. You can talk to me about Next Step anytime, or Bold City, or anything.
I was there last year, and it's a great event. I mean, it's well done. They have a great speaker. They have a very effective fundraising team, with Lauren Bond, So
you always give her a hard time. She's going to be like, what did I say?
She does.
She's so sweet.
I know. No, just because she's like, Justin is like, and how much are we going to put you down for? And like, what if I said nothing? No. Well, here's how much. They're wonderful people.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, they really
and it's a great event. We have a good time, and we just did the tasting, and I'm really excited about the dinner. So it's going to be delicious.
It is good food. They do a good job over there at that hotel, which has many names.
It's the DoubleTree right now.
DoubleTree right now.
Yeah.
That's the same day as our Burleson Opportunity Fund breakfast, so it's going to be a full day.
You'll get fed all day.
All day, and I'm going to be promoting that. They're coming on the show on the 11th. That's a week from Monday, I believe. We're going to talk about the Opportunity Fund in depth. Also, our friends Rich Hooper and his crew over there at Journey will be promoting the show. You are well familiar with Rich, I'm sure.
Absolutely. I saw him this morning.
Where'd you see that?
Business over breakfast with the chamber.
Good heavens. That totally slipped my mind. Oh, I'm going to hear about it next week.
Oh, it's all right. There were 105 people. I was really worried about getting through it. So,
we have a couple of guys that are a BNI group that are involved in leadership of the chamber, and they're just raving about that breakfast. So
it's going really well.
And I just slept in like a slob. Oh, boy, I'm going to hear about it now. 88.3 The Journey is one of my wife's favorite stations, so I'm getting pretty familiar with their playlist. Speaking of which, also tonight on my radio station, Community Radio, you're going to have, this show will be on at 6 today and 1 o'clock tomorrow. You can access my radio station at TuneIn or Live 365. Usually when I put it on the Facebook, the link is there. You can just click the link and all that. It's, there it is. It's starting to gather a little momentum. It's on the listener side. I mean, for a while there, it was pretty, I'd have days where, hey, I'm out here, nothing going on. And then the next day it would be okay. Now I'm getting more okay days than broadcast into the void days.
That's nice.
Yeah, but it's just take off slowly. But so did the podcast for that matter.
It's all stuff, yeah.
Yeah, and it's going to be like with y'all. I know
day
that.
By day.
Yeah, you're going to, and you'll go through these dry periods and flush periods and all that. And I admire the faith that y'all have. I mean, I don't know if I have that kind of guts to do that, but God bless you.
It's a work of the Lord.
Yeah.
He had to really work in us, but he's so good and so faithful in all of it. So.
Well, I'll be seeing you before October, I'm quite sure. Also, the 18th is the day of the North Texas Giving Day.
Yes.
I need to tell Otto he's on the hook.
We want to eat our pizza during that show.
Right, yeah. So that's on your schedule, I hope, and that's about 7 weeks away.
Yes.
And then before the gala, we'll probably figure out some time, and then maybe towards the end of the year, we do this again when you're about ready to open.
Yeah, that'd be
Lord
great.
willing, get it on before January 18th.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Amen.
Y'all picked a time. I mean, usually December is a shorter month, not just because of the holidays, but a lot of people aren't available.
Yeah.
And who wants to hear a rant about Trump's latest outrage on 2 days before Christmas? So, so anyway, Josh, you heathen, you doing all right over there?
Doing all right.
I think.
We thank you, Josh.
Yes.
Appreciate you, man.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, he's really really come along. We just found him on the street, and I said, "Would you like a job, boy?" And he goes, "Yes, I would."
It took me a while, but I feel like I got there.
About the second or third show, you got the hang of it pretty well, and there you go. And so I'm glad y'all are here in this community.
Thanks for having us.
Not just in the show, but I'm glad you're in the community.
Yeah.
And I hope God blesses your efforts and sustains you in those times when you think, what was I thinking?
Yeah. Had a few of those, but
everybody does. Everybody, they think if you have a person of faith that it's like, you're always boldly
ready
going
to
forward, and I have no doubts.
Yeah.
No, that ain't how it works.
No, it's not how it works.
No.
Yeah.
So
that's why it's called Bold City. We want people to live boldly in their faith, and that's what it's all about.
Did you think that name up?
Yeah.
Oh, good. That's a good name.
I mean, it was a community project between my wife and I and a few other people.
Well, I know, but it's better than saying, sort of good church. That's not a good title.
The okayest church in town.
Okayest church in town. The more. Yeah, okay. We're getting silly here. Next week, Monday is still kind of near, but I do believe the guest is going to make it. But I'll just wait till post that on Facebook. On Tuesday, I have the mayor, and we'll be talking about what's going on down in Austin because it's definitely affecting the city of Burleson and things of that nature. And it's going to be another amazing week. Thank you for tuning in. Share this with a lot of people, particularly those you think that could use this word of encouragement. So we'll see you next week.
Or if you're looking for a church.
Or if you're looking for a church,
let us know.
Well, you slid that in.
Yeah,
Good.
just say it real quick. Just say,
We'll see y'all next week.
bye.